The forest has a certain power to it, a power that can't be contained. Towns that were once occupied by residents, once left alone, will vanish. They'll be swallowed up by the forest. We can cut down trees and build houses, but the forest will keep coming back, growing straight through houses, overtaking anything in its path until there's no sign of the place existing. Deep in the woods of northern Michigan, there are many lost places. Today, we're exploring the only thing left from one of these towns. This is the story of Pere Cheney. The year was 1874. A man by the name of George Cheney purchased land from the government, forcing the Potawatomi tribe from the area. This greatly upset the natives, and it is said that they cursed the land before leaving the area, which might explain the great tragedies that happened here. In just 3 short years, the town had 2 sawmills, a hotel, a doctor, and a post office. The population was around 1,500 people. It seemed like this prosperous, growing lumber town was on the path to greatness, but in 1893, things took a turn for the worst. The town started losing residents quickly. Children were dying off, and soon after, the adults were too. By the time it was over, the population was only 18 residents, classifying this place as a ghost town. The official reason given for the deaths was a diphtheria outbreak. The legend says that there was a woman who had a child out of wedlock, and she was banished from the town and forced to live in the forest with her child. Her child died, and she became very angry, especially at the people of the town. She put a curse on them so that all their children would die. The townspeople arrested her and hung her in the cemetery. She's said to be buried somewhere in the back of the cemetery. It is also said that on a quiet night, you can still hear the sounds of the children and the woman screaming. There's been many sightings of apparition, orbs, unexplained lights, and other strange occurrences. So after wanting to come here for a really long time, we finally made it to Pere Cheney. It's supposed to be like a really haunted cemetery. This gravestone here that's behind me kind of talks a little bit about the history of the town and how it was settled. On the back side of it, it has a list of all the families that were buried here. So after all this time, we finally made it to Pere Cheney Cemetery. And looking around, it's like out here in the middle of nowhere. There's like no houses, no nothing. It's back on this 2-track that's really hard to find. And we've been out here maybe 10-15 minutes, and so far there's like 3 or 4 cars here. There's people walking all over the place. For being out in the middle of nowhere, it's like a huge giant tourist attraction. I figured that we would come out here and it would just be like empty. You know, it's a ghost town, really hard to find. We had to come down the railroad tracks and then trying to figure out how to get here, because you can see it, but you have to go way down and come back around. And yeah, it's weird that there's so many people out here. There's people walking all over the place. We're back here in the far right corner of the cemetery because they said that there was a witch buried out here and there was supposed to be her tombstone somewhere, but I don't see a headstone or anything anywhere. The only thing we found is over here. There's like this little chunk of a headstone just sitting off here in the middle of nowhere, just kind of all by itself. There's nothing written on it. I have no idea what it is, but that's the only thing we found. Other than that, over this way, there's nothing. It's all just empty. Alright, a lot of these headstones are all cracked and broken from vandalism. This one you can kind of read a little bit on there. And then we keep seeing these little things like this. I don't know what these are. Some of them are blue, some of them are orange, some of them are plain. This one says 23 on here. So I'm wondering if that's like markers where people were buried. I'm not really sure what those are. This one here is all cracked up too. It looks like there was two of them here and they got broken. And they just kind of pieced together whatever they could find of it. But that seems to be like a common theme. Like a lot of these just got destroyed from vandalism and they're all broken up. And like when we got here, I think it was like 1,500 people or something that ended up dying. And I thought there was going to be a whole lot more grave sites, but there's really not that many for 1,500 people. Yeah, we're here in the daytime right now, but man, if we were here at nighttime, this would be so crazy. Like all these nasty, gnarly trees and gravestones and everything. Dude, being out here at night would be insane. So I don't know if this is a paranormal experience or not, but that group of people that were here, there was those girls back there in the woods, and she came running out of the woods and said that she heard somebody call her name, and something like fell out of the tree at her. I don't know if it was like a bird or something, but we didn't get it on camera because it kind of happened quick and we weren't ready for it. But she come barreling out of the woods, and then a couple minutes later they just took off and they left.